I'd like to now introduce our next speakers, Amir and Daniel. Amir is a solutions manager joining us from Continental, as well as Daniel, a senior solutions architect here at AWS. They will be presenting on the topic of accelerating automotive embedded software development with Continental's Automotive Coding Assistant. Any questions, please leave in the Q&A box and we will address them with the speakers at the end of the presentation. So over to you, Amir and Daniel.
I'm going to start the presentation of Ami and me with a short look back. So I want to set the stage for what Ami is going to show and give you a bit more context of what our incredible collaboration looks like, actually. So I was we are working towards what Ami is going to show in a few minutes. Like for the last 2 years, it all started in 2023. So beginning of 2023, when we first met in person in our office in Munich, AWS office in Munich, where we were thinking about first concepts, virtualizing ECUs on AWS, so running ECUs on AWS. And that went on quite smoothly and quite nice, actually. So I really enjoyed having a workshop like every month, an in-person workshop every month with the Continental team, where we made really huge progress so that we, in that same year, we were able, I think it was October or September around, we were in that same year able to show off our first version of first deliverable of virtualized ECU at the IAA in Munich. Afterwards, at the CES 2024, we were also showing an improved version at the Continental booth and as well as at the AWS booth of that virtualized ECU. So we were able to show not only one ECU, but already two, so infotainment system and the instrument cluster. And as a top point that I would like to mention, then in 2024, we had that chance to show off this demo with at reInvent, AWS reInvent in Las Vegas, where we also in parallel won the so-called Clapper Award for that. So Continental won the Clapper Award for virtualizing Smart Cockpit, which is the name of that ECU. And Clapper is the association of suppliers, automotive suppliers, so with Bosch, Continental, of course, and ZF in it. That was a really huge achievement, really nice time there. And so to lead over to our current topic, at that time, we also had a first version of that automotive coding assistant with us so we called it undercover demo. We showed it a few people there and we got so good feedback so that we said, let's build on that. Let's combine these two things. So virtualized ECUs and GenAI-based driven coding assistant, because only with that we can give developers or give back time to developers in a full extent. So if you think about having only virtualization or having only a coding assistant, you would if you had only one of these things, you would need to wait for example, if you had the coding assistant first, you would need to wait for the the hardware to be available, and then be able to test your software for the first time, and the other way around. So if you only had the virtualized hardware without a coding assistant, you would also need to invest lots of time in unit testing, writing unit tests, writing the code itself, and so on. So our vision for the automotive coding assistant really is we want to bring together these two things, virtualization and the coding assist. And here Continental is really a big player because they are having one of the biggest bodies of C and C++ code with which is compliant to automotive standards like MISRA, for example. And we all know if you want to create like a Gen AI offering or Gen AI product, what you need first of all is data, right? So that is the unique selling point here. Continental has the data to create such an assistant. And yeah, and the last thing that I would like to mention here is we are right now engaging with an internal team, AWS internal team, which is called the GenAI Innovation Center team, where we as AWS are investing 6 to 8 weeks with a few developers into an endeavor like the automotive coding assistant to bring it forward, to bring it toward production, and that is our like main focus right now. With that, I would like to hand over to Amir. He's going to please, Amir, please introduce yourself and then go on with our demo and a few like introductory slides.
Thank you very much, Daniel, and also thank you to the whole presenter before me. I'm glad to be here. I think it's now the third time that we have these kind of demos together with Daniel in the Meetup sessions from AWS. Warm welcome from my side. I'm Amir from Continental. I'm going to demonstrate you with the very nice introduction from you, Daniel, the achievement we have had together. First, I'm starting with some slide sets, what we have, and then we are going to a live demo. As Daniel has already mentioned, in Automotive, we have a specific way of working. We're starting with some requirements. Out of those requirements, we are creating software requirements, software detailed design. Then we are implementing software, implementing test of the software, and then we are testing the whole environment for every single requirement up to the software implementation that we have. From the testing perspective, we have already discussed, we have the virtualized ECUs or high performance computer units in the car. Example given, one of those are that CLEPA or that class Smart Cockpit virtualization. It's at the end, it would be a gray box in the silver box in the car, which different kind of partitions isolated from each other with different tasks that they have. Infotainment system based on Android, cluster display, that should be another operating system because of the safety features, and in the classic autos are for the high safety stuff. So for that, we can use the whole environment which is hosted in the AWS cloud to test our software. Now come back how to implement the software and the test cases for the software. For that, we want to have an accelerated way with the Gen AI Assist trained or hosted in Continental environment, Continental AWS environment, to accelerate by the developer the whole development from implementation up to the test part. Yeah. I would first showcase the virtualization. It means the right side the environment that we are going to test. I would name it now digital twin of a real hardware that is nowadays available. You can flash exact the same binaries that you can flash in the hardware here. The same partition that we have seen in the slides, that it would be here for the very safety related classic auto partition. There isn't any screen that you can see it visibly, but what you see the effects that the signals are available from the car here. Example given that the speed information is here or the flashing lights are on. That's the effect of the available. That is hosted now in as indirectly in AWS, in the Continental Cooperation Portal, which itself hosted in the cloud, with the product names vECU Creator. It means it's targeted to be used not only by Continental colleagues, all of the OEMs and their third parties can have in a very short time access to that environment. and they can test it. It's very easy environment. The environment just looks like that. You have the whole toolings that you need for your development in automotive, and one of the tooling is accessing new hardware or virtual hardware and make it for you that's already available. It means whatever I have here, it's hosted in the cloud, and everybody could have access if they are in the same project. Okay, now come to our automotive assist. It's also cloud-based. What I am now show to you, it's now a Windows machine in the cloud. Why Windows? Because we have an automotive specific special test tools that they are used to be runnable in Windows. One of them are the Canoe Test Bench edition from Vector Informatics, which is the same tests tool for the real hardware, also as the real hardware available. It means I can now send here with that test tool different signals, and I would just see immediately that the signals would be available if I just turn on or turn off the different values. Now come back to the software development part. It means before I could run something, I need some software to develop. The very first problem that we have faced in the early stage to use Gen AI for creating some software is that we have an automotive very high limitation of how you are going to write the code. It means that's very specific checkers, rules that the software developers needs to obey. Example given, you cannot write a function which is running recursively, or if you want to use a variable type integer, which is very simple variable for everybody in software engineering, it's not that easily to use it in the ECUs in the car, since the length of an integer could vary between different devices as well. Okay? It means the very first challenge would be if you use a normal Gen AI in the market, you will get a program codes based on whatever is available in the public cloud or the public environment, which is less automotive flavor. I would provide an example here. I want to implement a Jira ticket. Jira we are using mostly to write down the tasks that we have. It's the very first, I would say, test. It's in the ticket is mentioned to write a C function, which is calculating the nth Fibonacci number. Fibonacci is a series number, is mathematics that you can calculate very easily recursively, but let's provide the challenge to the AI to make it for an automotive environment. I'm now promoting those. That means I'm handing over a Jira ticket to my AI assist, and it's trying to implement for me a code. But you will see now the code is not as you will see in the real environment, as in the public Gen AI assist is already obeying some automotive standards. Example given, you are not allowed to use variable type integer. You have to define how long your integer is in the real. You are not using a recursive function. It's being solved. That calculation is solved with some for loops here. That make us easier to build more software for the automotive. The most pain if I have such an application, it means the place that I'm going to invest most of my time as a software developer would be to test that piece of code, module test or unit test, since you need to test every single function independently if they are working correct. After that, you have to integrate the whole functions in an environment like digital twin and see the software test and also software integration test. But very first topic is to make a unit test for that. Well, I would not go with the unit test with our now example function. I have here a function, a productive function, which is available now in that Smart Cockpit HPC and virtual HPC that we have seen some seconds before. And inside the header file, we have the software detailed design. And software detailed design describes, it's now a Oxygen-based detailed design, what functions should be there and which functionality are there. It's just a header file, it's an empty function. And you see here some description what that function should do. For that, I have now the challenge to make a unit test for a function. And I have now a ticket to implement the unit test for a function DMS warning change. DMS is a driver monitoring system. You may know it in the cars. There are some cameras monitoring the driver if they are awake, if they are showing in the direction of the streets. The feature is also available here. I can use my local camera to pretend as an input for my from a driver monitoring system, but now we want to test it first before we want to go product. If I now want to implement that ticket to create a unit test, you need to read the software detailed design, and out of the software detailed design, it means requirements of your software detailed design, which is described here. You have to make your test cases. I just provide him the environment to make the software detailed design from the software detailed design environment from. Then within some seconds, the AI that's optimized Gen AI will provide me some answers. What is the software detailed design? What is the unit test? And write for me some test cases. Just assume if I want to write those test cases, it would be a huge amount of work that I have to do. Those test cases are not being now generated based on any implementation, which will execute successfully every time if I do like that. It's now being generated based on the software detailed design, which should be like that. We should not have it. I have now some test cases. But meanwhile, I have also the implementation done. Also assuming I could also implement it with the Gen AI, but since the functionality is available and the implementation is also done, I want to fulfill another standard in automotive. Testing a function based on the requirements, it's good that we have to have it. There are some other requirements that I need to have that much of example given unit test cases that I am sure that I am covering the whole lines of code, the C0 coverage, the whole decisions and branches that are happening in the functions. If you have some if clauses, different behaviors, you have to test everything like that. It means I need maybe some more test cases if it's not the case. For that, we have already created a Jira ticket which extend the test cases of the function DMS warning change to have the full C0, C1, C2 code coverage, which is the line of code coverage, decision, and branch coverage. For that, to fulfill it, I need the implementation, since based on the implementation, I can define the full code coverage. Now I have the implementation also available. That is in the DMS warning CPP file. If I now try to implement it, it may create some additional test cases to have a feeling of which amount of development we are now covering now. Developing the unit test cases and executing them cost in a normal project 28% of the whole project software implementation cost. It means if you spend 100 hours to develop the whole feature, 28 hours is only to make the test cases, which we can now do. It's the very first place that you have to invest your capacity in a project in that, if you're thinking about the automotive software development. Now with that tool, we have it within some seconds. It's now way more unit test cases, which analyzes the different lines of code and decisions and make the test cases like that you can cover all of the lines and decision and branches available in the code. With that, we have now achieved almost 28% of the whole development within some seconds. Now I want to change something. The next part is I want to, you have already seen, we have had some cluster display. To be honest, I am not a developer for that cluster. They are using some other platform that I'm not aware about that. In that case, they are based on Qt framework, which I have not used to develop at all. But I want to change something in that Qt framework. I just thought what could be interesting. I want to change the Continental logo with AWS logo, since we are cooperating together as a partner on that topic. And I just asked the AI to do it. I would ask to change the cluster background from Continental to AWS logo. Then I hope that I would get some feedback from it. Some feedbacks that you need some MISRA C guidelines or something like that. But at the end, I have some proposal from that, which I can just implement it here. And with building it, I am able to build this then successfully to deploy it in the running hardware. Let me see. I have now built and deployed here. It's just the whole binary is getting now deployed in the machine, and I hope I will get some. I have not built this here, right? I have to build it first. And I'm going to meanwhile, as I am going to build, if there are some questions, you can ask me, since the build will take some seconds. I hope I am still good in time.
Yeah, thank you so much, Amir. Yeah. Yeah, folks in the audience, any questions for Amir? Feel free to use the raise hand feature in WebEx or drop a question in the Q&A. I can get us started with one, Amir, Daniel.
Meanwhile, I can provide you the new logo, which is available there.
Great. Excellent.
Okay, go on.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you for the fantastic presentation. Really appreciate it. I want to just point everyone's attention to the survey poll that popped up in the WebEx. Please take a moment and fill that out. But quick question, just a short one here for you, Amir and Daniel. folks mentioned the Gen AI Innovation Center at AWS. Can you share a little bit more on your experience with that group and how they helped accelerate the solution?
Yes, of course. So Gen AI Innovation Center is like you can see it as an investment by AWS, right? And what they do is you can assume that they have like seen a lot of use cases with regards to Gen AI already. So they come like to your project, to your team, and like form a new team together with you. And with them, you're able to like speed up your delivery in terms of like you have experts at hand that can help you like go in like give you safety, whether a direction that you're going to take with regards to this functionality or this like type of technology, whether that direction is right or whether you need to adjust the direction a bit. So in summary, Gen AI Innovation Center is helping you to go to production with your ideas. It's speeding up like the time to market for you.
Great. Thank you so much, Daniel. And thank you, Amir, for the excellent presentation.
You're welcome.